it all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. We are the best on the field. And we hit the field like all day like all night like on the blue light, offense like defense like this squad like house call like and it sound like and it sound like and it sound like.
Yeah.
It's official. It's official. It's official.
Cowboys season is upon us.
I'ma do this here forever. Forever.
Triune.
Forever. Forever. I'ma do this here forever.
Manning throws. It is deflected and intercepted. Jimmy Smith has it. He's going in for a touchdown.
All you haters better be gone. This is the day you've been waiting on.
What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is beautiful Wednesday morning, May 4th, 2016, and we got a great show. Obviously, we're kind of late on the NFL draft news as our show happens on Wednesdays now. But it's fine. I'm not gonna repeat. I've already heard majority of the same things you guys have already heard. So we're not gonna be. We're gonna cover the NFL draft. I'm really just gonna talk about specific topics that I haven't heard from anybody else, as well as just something that just stands out in my mind. Give you my take on it. Some of the teams that did a really good job drafting and giving the reasons why, as well as some teams that just kind of just gave up and just flopped this draft, which I get it. It's not that much depth in this draft. There wasn't that many standout players going after rounds 1 and 2, and some question marks, whether it's off the field or injury issues, that really dropped a lot of players, and some players just dropped that just out of no reason, just happened that way. So we're going to talk about that, as well as some college football news with some recruiting, as well as satellite camps being back. Some NBA news. Of course, we'll talk about the San Antonio Spurs and why they can only blame themselves for losing, not the referees. And finally, I think that's about it. Also, some NFL news coming in as well today with the offensive tackles. It's a great day to be an offensive tackle. You're getting signed big money deals, but of course, thank you first off to Triune. You guys just heard their intro. Forever. You can buy it on iTunes right now, as well as the Google Play Store. Listen to it on Spotify, wherever it is. It is out there. Links are in the description down below. And let's give a quick thank you to Intergrind. Today's show is sponsored by Intergrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Arakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With plans starting at $6.99 a month, why not be a part of this rising program? Whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with Intergrind. Not in the Houston area, not a problem. Intergrind has a program that is personalized just for you. Intergrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Arakpo, Chiefs linebacker Derek Johnson, Oakland Raiders defensive back DJ Hayden. The list goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. Panthers linebacker David Mayo and Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at intergrind.com and call 832-475-2829. Again, that's intergrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. And we'll go ahead and start with some college football news first, and that's the NCAA Board of Directors, of course, have overturned the ban on holding camps away from school, which is obviously commonly called satellite camps. In a statement Thursday, the board stressed that it wants the Division I Council, which enacted the ban earlier this month, to conduct a thorough review of the entire FBS recruiting process. The council reports that the board of directors and oversees a number of NCAA legislative committees, and they want everything to be reviewed. They don't want a rash decision because they feel something's unfair. And we talked about when this happened, that when it got banned, that okay, it's not that big of a deal. You got to brand yourself. These recruits, they have so many tools out there to brand themselves and get their names out there to be recruited. And if they're not in a heavily recruited area in some states or some cities, or their football program just hasn't had historical success or just any success at all in the recent years, where they feel like there aren't many coaches out there. And I get it. When these camps are there, especially like the ones like Oklahoma State is having one here in the state of Texas. They're going through, I believe, 5 or 6 different cities, and there's a bunch of other schools. I'll see if I can try to bring it up here. A bunch of schools that are going to be at this specific camp, and I get it. For that one player, not only is he being scouted by, potentially being looked at by one school. I mean, you've got several schools. This camp has Boise State, Arizona State, Missouri, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Oregon State, Ole Miss, Iowa State, University of Mary Hardin, Baylor, a small, terrible school, Stephen F. Austin, Arkansas State, and Colorado State. That's huge. That is very huge. So I get the benefits that you get from some of these satellite camps and some of these big camps like this. It's going to be in Belton, San Antonio, Houston, Tyler, and Dallas, Texas. And there's many more like this. There's potentially one that's going to have TCU, USC in Southern California, Alabama, and Ohio State hosting a camp. I mean, these are big-time things, and I get it for recruits that are able to go there that maybe aren't even looked at by 24/7 Sports or Rivals or any of these other recruiting websites, that they now have a chance to get scouted by so many big-time coaches. But, again, these kids have to go out there and learn to brand themselves and get their name out there themselves rather than relying on these satellite camps. Because, again, there's going to be 300 kids there. So what happens if you have a bad day? Satellite camps aren't the greatest thing, right? So it's a great thing that they are back. And, I get the SEC is going to be upset about it because they're in that rich area for top recruits, but you're already in a recruiting battle with a lot of schools from the Pac-12, from the Big Ten, even from the ACC and the Big 12. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to fight for these kids anyways. Let them just have fun and let them build relationships with other athletes, other recruits. And you never know. Maybe it ends up helping you because they say, hey, because they've never heard of this other kid. And they say, hey, and they build a relationship. Why don't you come join blank school? I'm going there. I'm sure they'll like you. I can talk to them. You're already here. We can do something special. Bam. Things start working. So good thing satellite camps are back. Obviously, there's some other things they got to tweak and work on for this. But as soon as it was announced, many schools released Twitter posts, Facebook posts on their website of already the camp schedules and times already. Get ready to register. All these things. They were just ready for this moment. And it happened. So satellite camps are officially back. And Alabama Crimson Tide assistant coach Bo Davis resigned on Friday. The Davis resignation comes in the wake of the school and NCAA reviews of potential recruiting infractions, the Tuscaloosa News has reported. In all, he spent 6 seasons at Alabama and won 2 national championships. Head coach Nick Saban said in a statement on Friday, quote, Bo Davis has submitted his letter of resignation. We appreciate all of the contributions he made to the program and wish him and his family the very best in the future. Now, Davis returned to the Crimson Tide as a defensive line coach in January 2014, a week after being formally introduced at USC for the same role. He had told the Trojans that he was leaving for family reasons, and then he came back. He's been with Nick Saban. He spent 8 of the past 9 years before going to Texas from 2011 to 2013 on Nick Saban's staff at Alabama LSU and with the Miami Dolphins. So he knows them, and I bet it was tough for Nick Saban, but Alabama's getting into a little bit of trouble now, but probably not as much trouble as Ole Miss could potentially be in. Now, we all know how the NFL draft went with Laramie Tunsil, and overall, just feel bad for the kid because the video is 2 years old of him smoking weed out of a gas mask. And I hate the thing of, well, he's a college kid, and that it's just the norm that college kids smoke weed. I feel disrespected as a college student myself that is apparently a norm, that, oh, it's okay, he's a college kid. When I was in college or when other kids were in college, they smoked weed, or that's, it happens to many. It does happen to a lot of kids. A lot of kids do choose to smoke weed, but I don't think that should just be acceptable, and we should be like, okay, he's in college, he smoked a little weed, he did a stupid thing by making a video. If the reason of stupidity, if we're giving it to the fact that, oh, he recorded it, that was stupid, and not the fact that he actually just smoked weed as a football athlete for Ole Miss, a top athlete, top recruit. We're saying it's stupid because he took a video of it. That was the stupid part. That was the bad decision because he made a video of it, not the fact that he actually smoked weed as a collegiate athlete. That's not stupid. Okay, that's where we're at. That's the point we're at in society. That's the point where we're at as media analysts, to say it was stupid of him because he recorded it. Wow. Look, I feel bad for the kid. He made a dumb mistake. We all make mistakes. That was a really dumb one, and it cost him millions of dollars. It cost him from going to, obviously after the trade, we knew that he wasn't going to be a top 2 overall pick. Some people thinking going to San Diego Chargers. As Chargers fans, I think we all knew that they weren't going to address the offensive line in the first round. But outside people believe that. So I guess if you're looking at it that way, he dropped from number 3 overall to number 13 to the Miami Dolphins. We haven't had the best reputation of offensive linemen. I mean, they've had some, and I'm not talking about players overall, I'm talking about some situations. So, of course, Larry Tunsil, that happened with the video 10 minutes before the NFL draft. And then, to make matters worse, after he's been drafted, there are screenshots that were posted to his Instagram, his official Instagram account, that allegedly showed him asking Barner Farrer, an Ole Miss assistant athletic director for high school and junior colleges, for rent money and $305 for Tunsil's mother's electric and water bill. If this is true, if this screenshot is correct, how is Ole Miss not in serious trouble? They're already going through some recruiting violations because we all knew once they got Treadwell, once they got Kimdichie, once they got Tunsil, what's happening? What is Ole Miss doing? They're not supposed to get these top recruits. They're not supposed to pull in these 3 main studs in 1 year in recruiting. There's something happening here. Especially, they weren't having the best of success when they got these players. So it's not like, oh yeah, it's a rising program, I'm excited to join. No, not at all. Something happened. All 3 of these players are now in the NFL, all first-round draft picks. Congratulations. Tunsil was suspended the first 7 games of last season for receiving improper benefits from Ole Miss, such as interest-free loan, a rental car, and a plane ticket. And if these screenshots are correct, that he did ask and most likely received money from an Ole Miss assistant athletic director, Ole Miss is in trouble. And a lot of trouble. It's I want to see how I should address this because You know, one thing that's a little weird is that the fact that Tunsil, the person who had those messages, how did they screenshot those messages and then post it? You know what I'm saying? It's if obviously we knew it wouldn't be him. He wouldn't do this to himself. He's not that dumb. He wouldn't do it to himself. So someone screenshotted those pictures, those messages. Someone had his phone at some point throughout whenever this happened, whenever those messages came in. Someone screenshotted it at some point from then on, then sent it to that person's phone. And then the person who did all of this then found or had the passwords to Tunsil's Instagram and Twitter accounts and posted all of this stuff. Tunsil, this just seems like terrible privacy 101. You have a simple password, or you just gave out your password to everybody. Because there's some people blaming this on his not his ex, but his ex-financial advisor. How does your financial advisor know your password to your phone? That's what I want to know. I mean, if Tunsil is really not that bright, then there's a situation here. I mean, there really is, because how does that all happen? So we'll have to see. Of course, he then admitted during their press conference, every rookie gets their own press conference, and obviously when you're first rounder, it's just a single press conference. You're just the only one up there. You're not with another player unless that team had another first round pick. And first question is, did you receive any benefits? Did you receive any money? No, I did not. Next part comes in, or a couple questions later, same thing basically, and he says, yes, I would have to say so, that he did receive. And then whoever his agent or whatever that lady's position is, she should just be fired immediately, because instead of just going in right when that question was mid-asked, then you go, okay, that's enough. We're not taking any more of these questions. Tunsil, we got to go. No, not only do you hear that entire question again for a second time, he then says yes, and instead of just, he says, yes, I believe so, or I have to say so. There's still a gap. There's still a pause. There's like a 30-second, 45 seconds between after he finishes that statement and then she gets up there. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But we'll have to see with Ole Miss and Laremy Tunsil what happens. Obviously, Tunsil, he's free. He's not going to get punished at all from the NFL or from the NCAA, because they can't do nothing. He's gone. He's in the NFL. He's going to live his life, and he's obviously got to get better passwords and reset everything, delete all of these accounts and create brand new ones, and think of a password other than 1234 or password. We'll see. The Big 12's data research shows that the league will have to change its current format to maximize its chances of making the college football playoff. That includes expanding back to, 12 teams. The Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowsley said the analytics firm the league recently hired, which was Navigate Research, revealed that a 12-team league with an 8-team conference schedule and a championship game was the best model for putting a team in the college football playoff. What's crazy is just a few years ago, when they were actually the Big 12, when they had 12 teams, this was the same thing that they were doing. It was the exact same thing. You had your split divisions, you played your 8 games, and then you had 8 conference championship games, and then you had a championship game. You didn't have to hire research to do that. I would have personally done it for free. Just, make sure I get a little bit of credit and, get an interview or so. I mean, I'm sure they spent several $1,000s on this Navigate Research to tell them the exact same thing that they used to do in the past that was working for them, and they're just told that right now. I don't know what is. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. The Big 12 obviously currently stands at 10 teams in a 9-game conference schedule and has no championship game. This week in Phoenix, the Big 12's athletic directors and coaches are holding their annual spring meeting. And later in May, the conference president will convene in Irving, Texas. And Oklahoma president and new Big 12 board chairman David Boren has said he'd like to see the Big 12 take action this summer to expand, add a championship game, and form a conference network. Boren has said that until the Big 12 does all three, not just one, all three, until that happens, it'll be at a psychologically disadvantage, which is true. It's absolutely true. Now, Bowsley, who is the commissioner of the Big 12, said he doesn't think the league will be ready to take any major votes in the late May meeting, but he added that it would be in the league's best interest to move forward as quickly as possible, perhaps in the summer. Quote, once we get the diagnostics done and the data analytics done, which has happened now, we need to get down the path and make some decisions. There's no sense in dragging it out once we all know the pieces to the puzzle. Do I have the sound effects of clapping? I believe I do. Yes, Bob Bowsley. We know this. This needs to happen soon, very soon. And last thing I'm throwing in, and we're switching right off of this because we've talked about the Big 12 expansion probably 12 times throughout this past year. It's got to happen. It's got to happen to keep this conference alive because soon, once these TV contracts come up, and it's going to happen pretty quickly. I believe the first one is the Big 12, which comes up in 2020. It seems like a long time, but it's truly not. It's truly not. It's about about 4 years, maybe 3.5, depending on when you look at it. And when this comes up, this conference can die. It will break up. And you can have the fun of rearranging who you think is going to go where, who's going to SEC, who's going to the Big 10, who's going to the Pac-12. You can have all that fun. But it's not going to be fun for the Big 12 conference. And some of these other schools that are going to be the outside looking in, like Iowa State, Kansas, Oklahoma State, possibly Texas Tech, Baylor, even possibly TCU. It's not going to be fun when it's like, wow, we had a good thing going. And oh crap, Texas and Oklahoma, I'm glad David Boren is with Oklahoma because he knows that if this conference were to break up, it's not like he's only going to have one or two choices to go. The SEC is going to come calling. The Big Ten is going to come calling. The Pac-12 might even want to make a splash and say, screw it. We know we're on the Pacific, but hey, we will take you. The ACC will come in the calls that they could see as a big step up. And Texas as well. Texas, they're the main ones that can't get this thing done because they got the Longhorn Network. They're making their money. They don't care. And they know the same thing. If this conference were to fold, we're fine. We're the University of Texas. We can go anywhere we damn please to go. We don't need an acceptance letter. We will just force ourselves into another conference because we know that other conference is going to be on their hands and knees helping us get there. So this needs to happen. The expansion needs to happen. Personally, like I said, I would like UConn and Cincinnati. I really want Louisville too, but then you got to add a fourth team. They're not going to add 4 teams. It's tough. Maybe UConn and Louisville, but Cincinnati's been the main one calling. I think UConn makes a lot of sense just because of the money area. Louisville, the amount of money they make alone in just basketball is incredible and would bring the prestige up to this conference even more. Football program obviously is getting better and better. It's a lot. It's going to be a lot, but This needs to happen. And then finally having a Big 12 network, just have a vote. It's gonna be 9-1 in removing the Longhorn Network and creating the Big 12 network. Texas is gonna be the only one saying no. Everybody else is gonna say yes, because guess what? Everybody gets a split of the revenue. Nobody gets a split of the revenue of the Longhorn Network. Common sense, but I just want to make sure that's out. So let's move on. Last bit of college football news is 4 Auburn football players were arrested on misdemeanor marijuana charges Saturday night, according to police records. Sophomores Carlton Davis III, Byron Cowart, Jeremiah Denson, and Ryan Davis faced second-degree misdemeanor marijuana possession charges after being arrested by Auburn police at 11 p.m. on Saturday night. Gus Malzahn, the head coach, said, quote, "I'm aware of the situation, and we will handle the matter appropriately." Now, the main guy out of all of this, they're all sophomores, but the main guy is Cowart, Byron Cowart. He was ranked the number 1 prospect in 2015 by ESPN. He largely struggled last year as a freshman, only finished 6 tackles, and played as a reserve defensive lineman, as a backup defensive lineman. 6 tackles for a number 1 prospect. We might need to check our how we do our recruiting rankings. But it's amazing to me how so many athletes fall into this quick, easy trap. How hard is it just to say no? I mean, you have a free scholarship to a great university in Auburn and to any of these other universities. You have a scholarship that's paying every single dime, every penny paid. I get it. You want to get paid too. That's another conversation. But right now, and you're playing football, a lot of hard work, but you fall into this easy trap that can get you removed and lose all of that for one little puff of something that honestly is just going to make you dumber. Incredible. Incredible. So we'll see what Malzahn does. I'm sure it may be just a 1-game suspension at max. Probably we're just looking at punishment here of, just practice punishment. But one day there needs to be something that just clicks to all these athletes to say, not worth it. Not worth it. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking into a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something. Now, the NFL draft classes have been pretty good for a lot of these teams. Now, we're not going to go through grades because you can't really just grade somebody, grade these teams, because we're going on what they did in college. What we are going to do is just talk about some of the teams that did a pretty good job and that I believe a lot of these players can have immediate success. And we'll also talk about 2 teams that really kind of just flopped the draft, that really didn't address that many needs. And it could be anything as simple as just a different philosophy, or it could be the fact that these guys just don't know what they're doing. I think everybody's favorite, whether you're a fan of them or not, has to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. What they were able to get and what they've done. And I'm not just talking about Miles Jack. Everybody goes straight to Miles Jack and saying, well, if he can stay healthy, this is the guy. They did a great job. That their whole draft, the success of their draft weighs on Miles Jack and whether he can play for several years and effectively and to the talent that we all thought he could before the injury. I don't buy into that. I think even without Miles Jack, even if they drafted somebody else, another linebacker or another defensive guy or whoever, obviously not a kicker like Tampa Bay or a punter, but anybody else, I think this draft class that they hauled in is very, very good. It's something that you can see that this front office of the Jacksonville Jaguars are serious. This isn't going to be the lonely Jags that we used to know for several years, ever since David Garrard left and some of the other guys, Maurice Jones-Drew, some of the other. This team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, are on the rise. If everybody continues to have the approach they've had the past several years, and they're getting better and continuing to get better, not just saying, oh, hey, we had the best young offense, so we know what's going to happen again this year. No. Keep building. Keep working. Keep improving. Keep learning the playbook. And this Jacksonville Jaguars team, the sky's the limit. So, again, they get defensive back Jaylon Smith. The Chargers don't go after him. The Cowboys don't go after him. And Jalen Ramsey falls right in their lap. Perfect. Jalen Ramsey, first pick for them. And addresses a huge need, a defensive back that they don't have. They don't have any stud out there. Now, if Jalen Ramsey can be the guy who we believe really is the number one overall player in this draft class, then the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, they can build this defense. They already have a lot of talent right there. They brought in Prince Amakarua, or I screwed the whole last name up, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I went in there confidently. I don't have it on my list right now, and I tried to go in there confidently. I failed. Whatever. We know what we're talking about. Prince. No, okay. I'm not even going to try. I thought I could. They have him, and then Jalen Ramsey. Prince can teach him, and Jalen is just going to ball out. He gets to stay in the state of Florida and gets to ball out over there. Then, of course, you land Miles Jack. Good. Great. If it can work out. There's a lot of people talking. Thinking this guy might only last 4 or 5 years. Playing, decent, good, enough to keep him on your team. Which would make sense. The draft, it doesn't make sense, but I'm saying that it helps the Jaguars to win now and for the next few years. But they want this guy to be a linebacker for the future as well. And I really hope this knee gets better, and whatever the situation is, that Miles Jack can still be the top player that we know, or that we wanted him to be and that we saw him be. But I understand Jacksonville's thinking, look, we understand. They're smart. They understand that we might only get a couple of years out of them, and we're gonna rock with it. Then in the third round, they get Yannick Kadua, I think. Defensive end, Maryland. I know I'm struggling. I look amateurish. I'm sorry. Not a whole lot of people have these. This isn't common last names. Okay. Defensive end for Maryland, a powerful guy, a smart guy, a guy that is a locker room. What's the right word? A guy that you would love to have in the locker room. If you hear part of his story, there's a few articles up that I'll put in the link down in the description below. I didn't do it right in the beginning, but I will, because that was the point I wanted to make. A family guy, and his values and his off season, what he's done. Smart pick. Playing on the field, a monster. Off the field, an absolute great person. So a great pick there. And then in the fourth round, I believe they got a steal out of this. Sheldon Day, the defensive tackle from Notre Dame, a big power guy, plug-in guy. All these guys are plug-in guys that you can plug and play immediately. Tyron Holmes, a defensive end for Montana, not necessarily plug and play, but a reserve guy, sub guy that can come in and learn from these other defensive ends that they got. Brandon Allen, quarterback from Arkansas in the 6th round. I understand it. I like it. He can learn behind Blake Bortles, both young guys, and Brandon Allen really wasn't that bad of a quarterback last year at Arkansas. He really improved over the course of the season and over the past 2 years. A lot of upside to him, a pro-style guy, and, he could quickly develop into a very suitable backup quarterback and a great plan for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then finally, with their last pick, they again dressed the defense. All defense except for Brandon Allen. They go Jonathan Woodyard, defensive end from Central Arkansas, another guy like Tyron Holmes that can watch, probably special teams guy, and some reserve sub packages stuff. And then you also get the Deontay Fowler back after missing his entire rookie year. You get him back. And if he could be the guy who we saw at Florida, who was an absolute monster, a beast on the field, if he could still be anywhere close to that or the exact same, man, this Jacksonville team is going to be pretty good. And I already got them in my rankings, my early preseason rankings. I know you guys can't see at home, but I have them second place in the AFC South, right behind the Indianapolis Colts. Right behind the Indianapolis Colts. I got Jacksonville Jaguars second place and potentially making the playoffs. Woo, it's going to be good. I think Jacksonville Jaguars did a good job. Then the Minnesota Vikings. They get Ole Miss wide receiver Laquan Treadwell. Falls right into their laps. The Cleveland Browns pick Corey Coleman out of every other receiver, which is stunning. But they get Laquan Treadwell, a guy who can do just about everything. He can block pretty effectively and obviously can run some pretty solid, amazing routes. Then you get Clemson cornerback Mackenzie Alexander. These guys can contribute immediately. And then also, then they go in the fourth round. That's their next pick is Willie Beavers, offensive guard from Western Michigan. A solid guy. Build up that offensive line even more, some depth. Kentrell Brothers, an inside linebacker from Missouri. I liked him a lot. I was hoping the Chargers, when they were going to address the inside linebacker position, I was hoping they go after him. Of course, my Chargers, they failed me terribly. Then they get Moritz Boehringer, the German wide receiver from Germany, not from any college. He is the first European player drafted into the NFL without playing in the NCAA. Just straight up screwed and just said, nah, not going. Now, obviously, he stayed in Germany and played for, I believe they were called I don't know if they were called the Dinos or they were called the Unicorns or some weird fake fantasy name. And he goes out there, balls out, and does an incredible job throughout their he goes through the FAU Pro Day. He's out there, works out, Vikings see him. And it all started, and I'm sure you guys have already heard it, from NFL Network, which it was great watching that. And he watches a YouTube video on Adrian Peterson. And that's how he got into football. He just said, I love American football. I watching Adrian Peterson play, and now he's his teammate. It's a great story. A great story. And I really do hope he makes the team, and I believe he can. I believe he really can. Then to get David Morgan, tight end from UTSA. I really liked him a lot. I was hoping the Chargers also would go after him and wait on the tight end position and get David Morgan. Once again, the Chargers failed me. They got the number one tight end. We'll talk about the Chargers in a bit. I'll talk about that later. Then we got Stephen Weatherly, outside linebacker from Vanderbilt. And then Jaylon Curse, safety from Clemson, the guy who a lot of us talked about, especially after the national championship game and a couple weeks after this college football season ended, that this guy could go in the first or second round, and he's one of the few multiple safeties that fell all the way to the 6th, 7th round, and even some top safeties that didn't even get drafted. It was incredible. Jaylon Curse does get drafted, though, by the Minnesota Vikings in the 7th round. We'll have to see where he goes because he's a big guy. I believe he's like 6'3", 6'4", a slimmer Cam Chancellor type of player. And Minnesota Vikings, I believe, did a really good job with a lot of players that can step in immediately. And that's where a lot of these teams that we're going to talk about. The Cincinnati Bengals, they go after Houston cornerback William Jackson III, who obviously they need to address the cornerback situation, and they did with a very good player in William Jackson, a hard hitter, a guy who has a nose for the ball, and played in the Houston. If you watch the Houston DBs, man, that Houston defense, they forced a ton of turnovers. They weren't the guys that were going to hold you to a short amount of yardage, but, man, they would force turnovers like crazy. William Jackson III was part of that and is now going to play for the Cincinnati Bengals, which I believe it fits right in with that. Then they get Tyler Boyd, wide receiver from Pittsburgh. Solid receiver, one of the favorite receivers out there, especially after the main guys are gone in the first round. There's a drop-off, but he was one of the guys along with Sterling Shepard in day 2 that really stood out, and Cincinnati did a good job taking him. In the third round, they get Nick Vigil, inside linebacker from Utah State, and addresses the inside linebacker position, and also sends a message to Burfitt saying, you don't clean up your act both on and off the field, we got a guy who's not only going to learn from you, he's going to take your spot, because this guy has a potential to really become a starter in the NFL and take that inside linebacker position away from Vontae Burfitt if Burfitt can't get it together, get his head clean, and lose the temper and lose the stupidity of penalties that cost him the playoff game. Then Andrew Billings falls to the 4th. A lot of people thought maybe it was his knee injury. Was it any off-the-field issues? Why did he fall from a first-round defensive tackle to the 4th round? What was the issue? Said because he's a chew-down guy. You know, and I hate that it happens to a lot of these players. You know, I hate Baylor, but a lot of these players, you know, there's some players I give respect to. There's some players. Him and Coleman, KD Cannon, those are guys I respect. Other than that, I hate Baylor. But Andrew Billings, you know, I feel bad for some of these players because, you know, a lot of scouts and people were labeling a lot of these players that, they're only chew-down players. They're chew-down linemen, chew-down linebackers, chew-down this and that. And I'm thinking, okay, not all of it is on the coaches. Now, some of the coaches say, well, if he's a better pass rusher, then we're going to have him on third downs, which is true. But a lot of times, there's different packages with tons of different coaches that say, you know what, I feel like this player, I want him in. Or maybe I want Billings to take a rest because he's taking the first and second down beating. You know, I want a third down guy to come in here real quick, get a fresh in, and if we need to put him back out there, we'll put him back out there. And I'm not saying that's for everyone. There are some players that just play the first and second down or two down guys. But I don't like a lot of these players being labeled that because sometimes it's not all their fault that they are just on there for certain downs. But Billings, that was part of the reason. And if he can be any type of down player for the Cincinnati Bengals and he plays the way he did in college, then the Bengals did a really good job here. And in the 5th round, they got some other picks as well, but the top 5 picks for them, they were guys that I wanted to that were going to be plug and play. And then there was Christian Westerman from offensive guard from Arizona State, another really good guy who can step in as well. The Denver Broncos, they got Paxton Lynch, quarterback from Memphis, and I started watching film after I ended the show, and you know, because of the talk of Paxton Lynch or Connor Cook, and I felt comfortable with Paxton Lynch now. I really did. I wasn't a huge fan of him. I liked him. Obviously, I was rooting for Memphis throughout the year. But I was thinking Connor Cook was a better guy, but something is telling me that something's off with Connor Cook. A guy like that, a guy who has been a 2-3-year starter and has won some big games, doesn't fall to the 4th round. And even the 4th round was a stretch for him with the Raiders. But someone like that doesn't fall without some serious questions or an injury. And he didn't have an injury. That was major. That would hurt his draft stock. Paxton Lynch is the guy for the Denver, and I like it. He's going to battle, obviously, Mark Sanchez. They got Adam Gaddis, defensive end from Georgia Tech. Then Justin Simmons, one of my favorite safeties from Boston College. They got him in the 3rd round, someone who I thought the Chargers, once again, would go after. And yet they failed me again. Devontae Booker, running back from Utah. If he's healthy, could be the starting running back for the Denver Broncos. And then Connor McGovern, offensive guard from Missouri. Another guy, guess what, guys? I was hoping the Chargers would get. And guess what? They didn't. They failed me again. Denver Broncos did a pretty good job. Finally, we're going to talk about is the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones did a good job. And a lot of people are saying there's no in between. It's either you love the Dallas Cowboys draft or you hated it. You thought it was stupid. I absolutely loved it, and I believe they did the best thing they could for this team. Ezekiel Elliott, that's a tough decision. Ezekiel Elliott or Jalen Ramsey. It's a tough decision. I talked about it on my show, the live show that we did on the NFL draft. It is a tough decision between those two players, and it sucked for the Cowboys that it came down to that. But apparently from a source with the Dallas Cowboys said that Joey Bosa was actually their number one player, and that they were shocked that Joey Bosa went to the Chargers. They really thought it was going to be Jalen Ramsey to the Chargers or an offensive lineman to the Chargers, and Joey Bosa was going to fall to their laps, and that's who they were going to go get. It wasn't Ezekiel. It wasn't Jaylon. It was Joey. Joey gets taken by the Chargers. Then it came down to Ezekiel and Jalen Ramsey, and they said, we'll take Ezekiel. And I like it. I really do. They get him. And then in the second round, they get a guy who I was so happy they got. Was so happy. And that was Jaylon Smith.
Dallas, Texas. Hello? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, Jerry Jones? Absolutely. No! Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. How you doing? Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Oh.
We gonna rock, boy. We gonna rock, boy. I'm telling you, boy. For real, bro. For real, bro. I love you, boy.
I love you too. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, sir. All right now.
Good job, man.
Okay, we got it.
I'm proud of you, bro. I love you, boy.
I'm sorry.
I'm proud of you. Bro, you did it, baby. You did it, dog. You did it, dog.
So that was Jaylon Smith getting the call from the Dallas Cowboys, and I loved it. I was so glad that they went after Jaylon Smith and they got him. I was so happy that they drafted him because he's going to be, not only is he the most motivated player, I would even say over Miles Jack. When he, obviously had the injury, didn't know what was going to happen. And so because of that injury, he was already motivated because a lot of people thought, he was going to drop out of the first round and might even fall to the fourth or fifth round. And so he was going to be motivated based on that alone. And to the fact that he goes from Notre Dame to the Dallas Cowboys, I believe wearing that star, and I don't know, maybe it's just being from the state of Texas, but and my dad working for the Dallas Cowboys, but I think truly that when you know that you're going to wear that star on your helmet, that you are going to play for the Dallas Cowboys, I think that motivates you even more, especially everything he's gone through. I really do. And I think Jaylon Smith is going to be so motivated. Whether he plays in 2016 or he plays in 2017, I think he's going to fulfill his full potential that we thought he has, that we think he has before the injury. I really do. I really do. And the fact that Ezekiel Elliott was the only Ohio State player to go check on Jaylon Smith when the injury happened in the Fiesta Bowl, And now that they're teammates, that's incredible. That's incredible. It was one of the best feel-good moments of the weekend with Jaylon Smith being drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and they addressed an outside linebacker position that whether he plays again in 2016 or in 2017, it's a great, great thing to watch and see. And I'm keeping hope alive. I'm going to keep hope alive for him. Then they get defensive tackle Malik Collins, another guy I really liked out of Nebraska. A defensive tackle I believe can step in immediately, as well as Charles Tapper, the defensive end from Oklahoma. A little bit undersized, but I think he could get the job done for the Dallas Cowboys as a pass rusher. And then they get Dak Prescott as well in the 4th round, the quarterback from Mississippi State, a guy who can learn from Tony Romo, and I like it as well. And hopefully take over in 2 to 3 years as the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. They finish off with Anthony Brown at cornerback from Purdue, Kayvon Frazier, safety out of Central Michigan, Darius Jackson, running back from Eastern Michigan. And I really think they failed on the last 3 picks here with not Frazier. I think Frazier can be a good special teams guy. But Darius Jackson at running back, and then Rico Gathers, a guy who played basketball at Baylor, to be their potential tight end, a backup tight end. I think those last 2 picks, they really failed there. I think there were some other running backs that easily could have stepped in and been a player. I don't think Darius Jackson even makes the team. Rico Gathers, I could see not even making the team either. Why not get a tight end like Bryce Williams from Eastern Carolina, who didn't get drafted at all as an undrafted free agent, and actually has played the position for several years and knows what he's doing. He knows football, and yet you get a guy who hasn't played football in the college at all. Doesn't make sense. And you could have he was going to go undrafted, and you could have signed him later. Makes no sense. Another team we'll just go through real quick. We're not even going to go that much in depth. Houston Texans, I think they made a mistake going with Will Fuller and not Josh Doxson. That could be me being biased, but they did have a great draft. Will Fuller, Nick Martin, Braxton Miller, Tyler Irvin, KJ Dillon, and DJ Reader, all guys that could step in and start immediately other than Tyler Irvin. KJ Dillon could have a pretty big role. The Seattle Seahawks did a really good job. Jermaine Ifedi, which I'm saying his last name wrong again because I remember they said his name right. Jermaine Fetty. Jaron Reed, defensive tackle out of Alabama, another starter. CJ Prosise, I think, was a reach at the running back position in the 3rd round, but they got him anyways. Nick Vanette, tight end, who I really liked at Ohio State in 3rd round. A questionable decision, Reese Obed-Hibedu. I don't know, more people getting weird names now. Offensive guard from Boise State, a guy who's been hurt a lot and didn't get that high of ratings in 3rd round. I'm sorry, not buying it. Quentin Jefferson, a guy who I like, defensive tackle in Maryland. Alex Collins, running back from Arkansas. I'm glad the Seahawks got. Joey Hunt, center from TCU. Good pick for them. Kenny Loyler, wide receiver of California. Another good pick I like. And then they got Zach Brooks, a running back from Clemson. And then they also signed, which I was happy for, Trevon Boykin, quarterback from TCU. They signed him, $15,000 signing bonus, so he's got a really good shot of keeping staying on the team as long as he does his job. And they also, which is going to be pretty interesting, they have a tryout. They did not sign him, but it is a tryout for Vernon Adams, a quarterback out of Oregon, who I was upset that the Chargers haven't signed him as an undrafted free agent to take a 3rd-string position for us. I know they usually just keep 2 quarterbacks, but Vernon Adams could be something serious. And Chargers just failing. So let's go ahead and talk about the Chargers real quick. I just want to go on a quick rant. This is my Chargers rant. If you don't want to hear the rant, and if you're listening to the show not live, just go ahead and skip forward about 5 minutes because I'm about to rant. So the Chargers did a really good job in the 1st round. Joey Bosa, who I wanted Joey Bosa, and I'm glad they got Joey Bosa. But apparently they forgot how to draft 2 through 7. They get Hunter Henry, a reach. The best tight end by a lot of people. But 2nd round, 4th overall pick. Ashawn Robinson, Jerry Reed, all there. Defensive tackles, all there. Something the Chargers need. Did not address. But I'm okay with Hunter Henry. I'll be okay with it. I let that one pass. I was like, okay, that's fine. But you failed that part. Then they get Max Turk, a guy who's been hurt at center when they could have got Jack Allen, who fell to the 4th round. But that's hindsight, so we'll say that, you still could have got Jack Allen, a guy who's played a lot better and healthier. They get Max Turk. But I was like, okay, I'm okay with those 3 picks. I'll be okay with that. That's fine. Come on, let's get defensive line now, safety. They get Joshua Perry in the 4th round. I was like, okay, I heard that we were going to address the inside linebacker position, so okay, I'm fine. I'll be fine with those 4 picks. But, all right, come on, D-line, safety, we got to get it. Then in the 5th round, they go Jatavius Brown, outside linebacker from Akron. A 3-time All-MAC player, so I was like, okay, he's got some good stats to him, but why are we getting outside linebacker again? Now, there's talk that this guy could play safety in the NFL for us. I'm sorry. That's great and all, and he's a thumper, but we already got a thumper and a die at safety. I want another safety. I want a true roaming player. Jeremy Cash is out there. Tyvis Powell's out there. There were some other safeties out there. What's going on here? I was upset. Read my Twitter timeline. And in the 6th round, they draft a punter. Okay, 6th round, usually that's when punters and kickers start coming off. Except not only did they just get a punter, they didn't get the best punter. They didn't get the number 1 punter. They got Drew Kasser, punter from Texas A&M, which, obviously I've seen him. I've watched a few A&M games. I've watched him. He's all right. He's pretty good. But they didn't even get the number 1 rated punter. And honestly, in the 6th round, there were still some good defensive linemen. There were still some good safeties. There were still some good offensive guards. There were still some good wide receivers that we did not get. I was mad. After 5th round, I was mad. 6th round, I quit. I quit on the Chargers. I was done. And then again, we had another pick, so I was like, come on, we got an opportunity here. Tom Telesco did his thing. Derek Watt, fullback from Wisconsin. Are you freaking kidding me? Just because he's J.J. Watt's brother, he's an automatic NFL player? This guy is not a normal fullback. He's a guy who catches out of the backfield. Get a freaking running back if you're going to do that. This guy isn't a power guy. Just because he played with Melvin Gordon, that's going to make Melvin Gordon better? The only reason Melvin Gordon did really good other than his talent alone was because the Wisconsin offensive line knows how to play together. Our offensive line doesn't know how to play together. We didn't address it. And then in the 7th round, we get Donovan Clark, offensive guard, Michigan State. I can live with it. I get it. I live with it. 5 through 6, the 3 picks right there. Absolutely terrible. I don't know what the Chargers are doing. I really don't. You look at the Raiders, you look at the Chiefs, you look at the Broncos. There is now a huge gap between the Chargers and all 3 of those teams. There's the Broncos, there's the Chiefs, there's the Raiders, and there's just 50 feet of crap. And then there's the San Diego Chargers. Come on, guys. And then finally, the Cleveland Browns. I think they could have done a little bit more. Actually, I should say, I think they could have done a little bit less. 14 draft picks. Really? Really? I get you have a lot of needs. You had all 11 positions that needed to be filled on offense and on defense. But you could not save picks for future years. This was a time to trade out a lot of these picks to be in a couple, have 8 picks this year. Then have another 7 next year. Or 7 or 8 next year. And then a few others for 2018. Just build, bulk. This was the time. They did not do it. When it comes 3 to 5 years from now, how are you going to resign majority of these players? Unless you feel like a lot of these players you're going to let go. Then you just wasted this draft when you could have got other guys who could have then been on the roster for several more years. Corey Coleman, it's a stretch. It really is. You need a go-to receiver. Josh Gordon isn't going to be there. And you get a slot receiver. This is Corey Coleman, he played outside in college, but this is the NFL now. He only ran about 3 or 4 routes in college, and he cannot be your outside receiver, and he's not going to be your go-to receiver. There goes a lot of his confidence. Emmanuel Ogbah, I like it, defensive end. I live with it. Carl Nassib, defensive end, I can live with it. Sean Coleman, offensive tackle, if he can play healthy, I like it. Cody Kessler at in round 3, way too much of a reach. Fail. Joe Schubert, offensive. I keep saying it. Outside linebacker with Wisconsin, I can deal with it. Ricardo Lewis, wide receiver, Auburn. I feel like there's a better receivers out there in the 4th round. Derek Kendrick, safety from TCU. His draft stock really went up. I'm not trying to be biased, but his draft stock went up incredibly huge. This guy was looking at 7th or undrafted before the NFL Combine, and his NFL Combine and his pro day shot him up to 4th round. I can deal with it. The wide receiver from Princeton, fail. Wide receiver from UCLA, Jordan Payton, I like it. Can do it. Spencer Drango, offensive tackle from Baylor. Apparently, they're just trying to get all Baylor guys. But, yeah, I liked him. I was okay, whether he plays guard or a tackle. Rashard Higgins from Colorado State. His nickname is Hollywood, and he's not going to a place anywhere close to Hollywood, nor does it feel like Hollywood. He's going to Cleveland. I like the pick. Trey Caldwell, cornerback from Louisiana Monroe. I can deal with it. And Scooby Wright III, inside linebacker from Arizona. This guy, had he left his junior year in college, he was going to be a first-round, top 5, top 10 guaranteed pick. Then he comes back for his senior year, tears an ACL. Bam. Ouch. Falls all the way to the 3rd round. Or excuse me, to the 7th round. If he can get healthy, I like it. So, we'll see. But here are some of the best moments from the NFL Draft in 2016.
You can feel the energy inside this building and also across the street. The NFL Draft has finally arrived.
With the first pick, the Los Angeles Rams select Jared Goff.
This is a California kid.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Carson Wentz.
Are you ready for the Eagles fans?
Joey Bosa.
He's going to go hot in the AFC West.
The Dallas Cowboys select Ezekiel Elliott.
I'm coming to Dallas. I want a Super Bowl.
The Miami Dolphins select Laramie Tunsil.
I feel horribly for Miles Jack. Still on the draft board.
Laquan Treadwell.
Are you proud of Daddy?
Yeah.
You just got a call from John Elway for crying out loud. Night number 2 of the NFL Draft. He needs no introduction.
Jaylon Smith, linebacker.
Miles Jack.
There you go.
Linebacker.
Chris Jones.
Bow downtown. I'm on the team, man. I'm excited.
Larry Zonka.
You're just applauding for me because I look like Butkus.
Got the blue on and you're ready to go to Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, blue my favorite color.
Sean Robinson, defensive tackle.
The reason why there's so much loud booing in the arena is the Packers are on the clock now.
Only in Chicago.
Will Smith, we love you.
Nice.
The Seattle Seahawks select Jaron Reed.
Seahawks got a player coming.
The New York Jets select quarterback Christian Hackenberg.
The Jets have just gone all in.
Linebacker Dick Butkus.
Cody Whitehair. Buccaneers select Roberto Aguayo.
Kickers are second rounders. Well, it was a great night of rounds 2 and 3.
Welcome to day 3 of the draft. Round 4 is now officially open.
Live from Selection Square in Grant Park.
Live from Mexico City.
Universal Studios, Hollywood.
I say, what's up, Raider Nation?
I'm the voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, and I love the Bucks.
Dak Prescott. Quarterback Mike Zimmer. We got Mobo sitting right here with us. Let's hear his name come off the clock.
Moritz Forager.
The dreams come true in the draft.
How great is that?
Keenan Reynolds from Navy.
Who says nothing happens in the 6th round? Folks here put on another great show for the NFL Draft. Signing off from Chicago.
That's another thing I forgot. Keenan Reynolds going Staying actually right in Maryland, going to Baltimore and playing for the Baltimore Ravens. Awesome job, and I'm glad he got drafted. The Chicago Bears have agreed to terms with veteran quarterback Brian Hoyer on a 1-year deal. The deal is worth $2 million, and it's a good thing because Chicago didn't have any other reserve quarterbacks. They had David Fales and Matt Blanchard, who have yet to appear in a regular season game. And since 2011, Cutler has missed 14 games due to an injury, and now they get Brian Hoyer. So he's finally accepted the backup role and is ready to go in whenever Cutler plays like crap or, is just, hey, I'm ready to go in whenever you get hurt again. That's basically it, which is good. Jim Irsay said Saturday that contract negotiations with franchise quarterback Andrew Luck have become serious and that the Colts owner wants a deal to be agreed upon by the start of training camp in July. Then during the NFL owners meeting, in March, Irsay said he hoped a 9-figure deal would be reached with Luck by July 4th. So he's still hoping he could get something done. The Colts have already signed receiver T.Y. Hilton and offensive tackle Anthony Costanzo to long-term deals before the start of the 2015 season, and now are hoping to get their franchise quarterback here soon. And it's going to be a big deal, a huge money deal. One thing I really liked, a quick little story, is shortly after the Seattle Seahawks made their final pick Saturday, wide receiver Doug Baldwin tweeted a message to his head coach and said, quote, "Dear Pete Carroll, we are thrilled with the new teammates. One condition: nobody wears 24 for years to come. Sincerely, the players." Now, 24 obviously belongs to Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch, who announced his retirement in February. And general manager John Snyder confirmed Saturday that Lynch has still not officially filed his retirement papers, but Carroll said that Lynch is committed to being retired, and it's a non-issue for the organization right now. And then also, John Snyder made an appearance on Monday during 710 ESPN Seattle's Brock and Salk show. And he said, quote, "One of my last conversations with Marshawn was that nobody was going to wear 24 this year in the regular season. And that, quote, I appreciate Baldwin's input," Snyder said. "I'm glad he wants to help distribute jersey numbers." I like that. That's a good remark. He's obviously just joking with him. But it's a good thing. And I'm a numbers guy. I'm very serious when it comes to numbers. I don't know. It's an OCD or something, but I don't like it. Like with TCU this year, I didn't want anybody wearing number 2, and I didn't want anybody wearing number 9. Of course, now for TCU, they don't have the same. They don't feel the same way that I do, because 2 players are wearing number 9, 1 defensive end and 1 wide receiver, which is especially as a receiver, and I'm sure number 2 is going to be taken at some point. Those 2 numbers need to be retired from TCU. What Trevon Boykin did for TCU and what Josh Doxson did for the TCU program, need to respect it. Especially, just don't have anybody wearing it this year and then retire it in a couple years. I mean, in college, you can have players wear the same number. You're not going to run out of numbers. You're not going to have that many people. Come on now. Retire those 2 numbers. Let's see what else we should talk about. I think we talked about everything. James Harrison says he confirms that he'll play for the Steelers in 2016. Harrison was still productive in 2015. He had 40 tackles and 5 sacks, despite playing in a pass rush rotation with Arthur Moats and first-round picks Bud Dupree and Jarvis Jones. Buffalo Bills have agreed to terms on a 5-year contract extension with left tackle Gordy Glenn. I just completely dyslexic. I don't know what's wrong with me. The deal is worth $65 million and $36 million guaranteed. Glenn stands to make $19 million in 2016 and $30 million in the first 2 seasons. Big time deal. And then Saints offensive tackle Armstead. I forgot his first name. Do I have it on here still? Terran Armstead. He received a $64.5 million deal in a 5-year extension, $38 million injury guarantee and $25 million guarantee. And also, Colin Kaepernick has resumed throwing after all of his surgeries that he's had. He's now throwing, which is good. So we'll move on to the NBA. But before we do that, check out Intergrind and Patreon. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the show, but I want to say first off, thank you for all of your support. Without you, I'd just be some guy talking to a microphone. And I got some amazing news. I recently joined Patreon. And in case you're wondering, Patreon is an amazing way for you to earn some sweet rewards by supporting the Short Sports Show. I promise you, you will love the perks, and your support will help build this show. Go to www.patreon.com/theshortsportshow and view the amazing rewards you would get directly from me to you by donating to the show. The link is in the description, so when you have some time, check it out. And again, thank you for listening and supporting the Short Sports Show. Now back to me rambling on about something. Today's show is sponsored by Intergrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Arakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With plans starting at $6.99 a month, why not be a part of this rising program? Whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with Intergrind. Not in the Houston area, not a problem. Intergrind has a program that is personalized just for you. Intergrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Arakpo, Chiefs linebacker Derek Johnson, Oakland Raiders defensive back DJ Hayden. I mean, the list goes on and on, ladies and gentlemen. Panthers linebacker David Mayo and Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at intergrind.com and call 832-475-2829. Again, that's intergrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. All right, the Warriors, they entered the fourth quarter down 11, and they ended up winning by 11. They came back to win it. Unbelievable. The Warriors are something else. I really feel bad for the Trailblazers because I liked them, and they started off strong. They played the entire 3 and a half quarters, very strong. And then fell apart. And then completely fell apart. So, I started with a little teaser, and I'm going to probably get a lot of hate being in Central Texas here. The Spurs have nobody to blame but themselves for losing. Now, of course, the NBA listed 5 incorrect non-calls from the final 13 and a half seconds of Monday's game between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs guard Manu Ginobili should have been whistled for delay of game for stepping on the sideline as he was attempting to defend the game's final inbounds play. And Thunder guard Dion Waiters should have been called for an offensive foul for crossing the out of bounds plane and hitting Ginobili with his elbow as he inbounded the ball, the league said Tuesday in its last 2 minutes report. After the ball was inbounded by Waiters, fouls should have been called on the Spurs' Patty Mills and Kawhi Leonard. The league said that Mills grabbed and held Thunder center Steve Adams, and Leonard grabbed Russell Westbrook's jersey, which he clearly did if you see the picture. Finally, the Spurs stole the inbound pass and made a final effort to hit the game-winning shot. A shooting foul should have been called on Thunder forward Serge Ibaka for grabbing and holding jersey of LaMarcus Aldridge with 2.6 seconds left. Here's the deal. Now, of course, it should have been a foul immediately right on Ginobili. Done. None of the play matters. Nothing else happens. It doesn't matter what Dion Waiters did because it all started with Ginobili. So, crap, okay? It was a foul. Whatever happens, happens then. But actually, this all worked out in the Spurs' favor. All of this. Because, yeah, you got mad that Ginobili should have been fouled, but you had a 3-on-1 situation. Stole the ball, 3-on-1. Danny Green makes a terrible pass, and Patty Mills airballs a 3. You're down by 1, and you have a timeout remaining. What happened? I get it. You don't want to score too quickly and get for the easy layup to take the lead, but, I mean, there comes a point where it's a win or a lose. And when the winning shot's right there, a 3-on-1 situation, don't be complaining about what happened to Ginobili, because that doesn't matter. You had the opportunity for a 3-on-1. And if you didn't like it, you know, maybe you're like, oh, wait. Timeout. Timeout if you want to draw something up, so that way you don't leave enough time on the clock. Doesn't mean you're going to win if they get that timeout, but Spurs can only blame themselves, because it either results in you go into Ginobili's foul right then where it should happen, and nothing else matters after that. That's it. There's a foul. Or you missed an opportunity on a 3-on-1 situation and failed. That's it. Spurs lost. I root for the Spurs. I'm hoping the Spurs win this series. I wanted them to win that game. I want it to be Spurs Warriors in a Western Conference Finals with a healthy Warriors team and a healthy Spurs team. That's what I want. That's what everybody wants. But you got to be realistic here. And that's what happened. Doc Rivers said Monday that he would not break up the Los Angeles Clippers' big three of Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan during the offseason, regardless of any trade offers that may arise. Quote, I like our core. I like our bench, which was really good this year. That's what he said 3 days after the Clippers were eliminated from the playoffs by the Portland Trailblazers in 6 games. The Clippers are coming off their 4th consecutive season of 50 or more victories. Quote, we're close, and we know that. We have a priority of trying to just keep making our team better. Obviously, because of injuries, Blake's in particular, we literally don't know what we could have done. Even during the playoffs, he still wasn't 100%. End quote. That's what Doc Rivers, the head coach of the Clippers, said. Griffin, he missed 41 games during the regular season because of a left quadriceps injury and played in only 5 games between his return and the start of the postseason. He sat out the final 2 playoff games after re-aggravating the injury in Game 4, but is expected to be healthy again before the start of training camp. We'll just have to see. And last news is Dirk Nowitzki has decided to opt out of his final season of his contract with the Dallas Mavericks, but has no intention of leaving the team. Nowitzki, who has previously stated on several occasions that he planned to play out his 3-year, $25 million deal, announced his decision during an appearance Monday on 1310 The Ticket in Dallas. Quote, we had 1 more year on the contract, but I think it's the right thing to do. We're going to sit down with Mark Cuban and general manager Donnie Nelson, obviously, over the next few weeks and figure out how to improve this franchise again, end quote. Now, at 37 years old, he would have made $8.7 million next season if he opted to complete his 3-year contract. He could take a lower salary to give the Mavs more flexibility this summer, and he really wants to be the second player in NBA history to stay with one team for 20 years, which Kobe Bryant's the other person to do that. But he would have to play another 2 years, and who knows if that's a stretch for Nowitzki or not. But he is going to stay with the Dallas Mavericks. He's just wanting a different deal, whether that's more money or less money. We'll have to see. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us today here on the Short Sports Show. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show and become a fan on Facebook, the Short Sports Show. Support the show on Patreon, which you guys just heard a couple times today. It is an awesome way to get some awesome rewards by directly supporting the show, and all contributions go straight to the show, not for anything else. It helps to improve the equipment around here and other opportunities that may arise for the show. So I appreciate everyone listening. So be sure to also share it out with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next Wednesday morning. As always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.